June update. I've been working on a number of things since the last update, one of them being this drip lip that goes above the window and across the windshield. That was a total of 7 pieces of sheet metal that all got bent, formed. You can see the profile there. TIG welded together, bent and hammered some more. It wraps all the way around to the other side there. So we got that all done. That took a lot of time. I noticed in my previous update that it was awful dark inside here, so I thought I'd shoot a little bit more video here. Get the light. So there, that switch panel side on the left side when you're in it, that's all complete now. You can see all the switches, hides all the wiring there. The right side inside there, that's all done from before. There's the screen that swings out for the rear view camera. And then back in here at the very rear of the cockpit, that's where we've got to do some more sheet metal work once we disassemble all of this stuff out of there so I can get some access. So that'll get capped in. And then I picked up some aluminum sheeting that'll close in around that winch anchor actuator. That's both sides. So I'll do that once I get this partially disassembled. Moving to the rear of the tracks here, a couple things back here. That oil cooler is now mounted off the roll bar there out in nice open air. Had to reroute some hoses. It'll be longer ones so they could wrap around correctly. And then this heat shielding around the servo actuator, that is complete. And also the heat shield around the muffler is complete. So quite a bit of forming, sheet metal work there. You can see the bottom there caps it nicely, keeps that heat from getting to the servo, protecting that during hot operating days. This oil cooler will get mounted. I can't finish mounting that until some of this comes apart so I can reroute these hoses. They're messy and I don't want to get a bunch of oil around, so that'll have to happen once disassembly starts. Then another thing I've been working on is the winch wand holder. I just temporarily wired on there now. I'll make some clips that'll clip onto that roll bar, but that winch wand can then clip in there and stay there, and it can release to come out. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. So it holds it there, and then now you can take the winch handle out and do what you need to do. Made this longer joystick on there so it's easy to actuate. That goes right back in there. And then close. I got one more piece to go right here to hold it, but you can see it holds it pretty well. That way the winch wand is all set to go. Easy to use, don't have to find a place to keep it. The other thing that I made here is this tensioner for the winch rope. Without that, you have to maintain pressure on or tension on the rope when you wind it back in on the winch, otherwise it makes a big mess. Winches depend on evenly coiled rope to maintain good pulling pressure and for life of the rope or cable. So there's springs underneath there that apply upward pressure right along here, and you can see how nicely that's wrapped up. So that also makes it easier for one person to run the winch. There's a shiny pretty piece of diamond plate aluminum. This will be the bottom for the battery tray. We'll take a look at the battery tray. So currently the battery tray is plywood on some metal angle, and it's underneath here. Oh, there you can see it. So right now you can see it's plywood. It made it easier to temporarily mount components, make sure they all fit. So up on top of that plywood is 2 batteries, an air tank, 2 small air compressors, and all the wiring and solenoids to run those air compressors. So there's a lot going on there. That diamond plate will go there. And close that in and replace that plywood. So that will be work that we'll do during disassemble. There's also up front there, that's the bottom of the ramp you can see. That will also get sheeted, probably with aluminum, to protect some air cylinders and some hoses up there that are getting caught on weeds when you go through tall grass. So that will be work that we'll do during this disassembly process. Additionally, I've got a little resettable fuse right there. That's a 40 amp resettable fuse, a little black dot there. If it reset, it would pop out and you could push it in and reset it. That's right here, fairly easy access underneath the winch. That is the fuse for the air compressors. If something goes wrong with an air compressor, for whatever reason it trips the fuse, you can then reset it without having to dig in underneath to a buried fuse. So that's fairly easy. Here's a control panel stand on the wheelchair, making this little cover right there to shield the user from that interfering with your body. So kind of a nice rounded little cover. That's out of ABS and fiberglass mesh. Here is the wand or the control switches for that control stand, and that clips onto the side of the control panel. We'll show that. I got the control panel bolted onto the stand, and then this switch block has got a big V dovetail, got a corresponding holder there, designed and 3D printed that. It clips right on there like that, and now it is very easy to reach in here and make, goes up and down, it tilts, and it extends. That way you can position the control panel exactly where you need it. And then this switch here is for the main stalk up and down. It is slow and noisy, but that's okay when you're trying to adjust to get it attached to the wheelchair. It's nice to have that slow movement. So that's pretty much done there. It'll have to be disassembled and painted, of course, but things are looking good there. So that concludes the updates for June here. We're gonna go take it for a final test drive around, burn up some diesel that's in the tanks that needs to be used up, and then I can start to come in and get to these sorts of areas that still need a piece of sheet metal. Don't want to do that until I remove all this plex. So plex will be the first to come off, and then we'll do a little bit of work here and there, and then further major components start to come off of this thing. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.